The courtroom settles into its familiar rhythm, the shuffle of papers, the creak of wooden benches, the hum of fluorescent lights overhead. Judge Frank Caprio arranges his notes with the practiced precision of someone who has presided over thousands of cases. Today's docket appears routine. Traffic violations, expired registrations, minor infractions that form the backbone of municipal court proceedings. But some cases refuse to remain routine. Case number 2025 TR 47286, the clerk announces, her voice carrying across the chamber. Commonwealth versus Aiden Victor Roth. The defendant rises from his seat with the easy confidence of someone accustomed to favorable outcomes. At 18 years old, Aiden Roth possesses the polished appearance that wealth affords. Tailored clothing, expensive watch, professionally styled hair. Behind him sits an attorney whose hourly rate exceeds what many families earn in a week. Judge Caprio glances at the case file, then addresses the defendant directly. Mr. Roth, this court has reviewed the charges against you. Before we proceed with testimony, do you have anything you wish to say? What happens next transforms an ordinary traffic hearing into something far more significant. My dad can buy you. The words land in the courtroom like a physical object. Not shouted, not even particularly emphatic, just stated, casually, matter-of-factly, as if ordering coffee or commenting on the weather. The judge sets down his pen with deliberate care. When he speaks, his voice remains measured, but something has shifted in the atmosphere. Mr. Roth, you are addressing a court of law. That statement is now part of the official record. Do you understand what that means? Aiden shrugs, his expression unchanged. I understand my father owns half this city. Your father owns property, Mr. Roth. He does not own this bench. Please sit down. The attorney rises quickly, sensing the dangerous current his client has just stepped into. Your Honor, my client is young and— Counselor, Judge Caprio interrupts. Your client just made a statement that directly undermines the integrity of these proceedings. We will address that. First, however, let's establish the facts of this case. Miss Lewis, please call the charges. The clerk stands, reading from her document with professional clarity. The defendant is charged with 3 violations: speeding 68 miles per hour in a posted 35-mile-per-hour school zone during active hours, reckless operation of a motor vehicle, and failure to obey a lawful order from a police officer. Judge Caprio looks at the young man before him. Before we continue, I want to be absolutely clear about what we're examining today. This isn't simply about traffic violations. This is about accountability, about respect for the law, and about understanding that rules apply equally to everyone who travels our streets. Officer Rodriguez, please take the stand. Officer Thomas Rodriguez, a 12-year veteran of the Providence Police Department, steps forward and raises his right hand for the oath. His testimony is precise and professional, the account of someone who has testified in court many times before. Your Honor, on October 15th at approximately 8:47 in the morning, I was conducting routine speed enforcement on Elmwood Avenue near Carver Elementary School. The school zone was active, indicated by functioning beacon lights that reduced the speed limit to 35 miles per hour during school hours. He pauses, consulting his notes. Using department-issued LiDAR equipment, I recorded a black sports sedan traveling westbound at 68 miles per hour, nearly twice the posted limit. I immediately activated my emergency lights and siren to initiate a traffic stop. And did the vehicle stop promptly? Judge Caprio asks. No, Your Honor. The vehicle continued for approximately 2 blocks before pulling into a parking lot. This constitutes the failure to obey charge, as the driver was legally required to stop immediately upon seeing emergency signals. What happened when you approached the vehicle? Officer Rodriguez maintains his professional demeanor, but something flickers in his expression. a memory of an interaction that clearly stood out from routine traffic stops. I approached the driver's side window and requested license and registration, as is standard procedure. The driver, whom I later identified as Aiden Roth, did not comply with this request. Instead, he stated, call my lawyer first. I explained that this is not how traffic stops work, and that he was required by law to provide identification. His response was to ask me, "Do you know who pays your salary?" The courtroom is silent. Judge Caprio makes a note before continuing. Officer Rodriguez, you recorded this interaction on your body camera, correct? Yes, Your Honor. Both dash cam and body cam were operational throughout the stop. Miss Lewis, please play the relevant audio from the body cam footage. A brief moment of static, then Aiden's voice fills the courtroom. Young, confident, dismissive. Do you know who pays your salary? Judge Caprio allows the silence to settle for a moment before speaking. Mr. Roth, did you make that statement to Officer Rodriguez? Yeah, so what? So, context matters, Mr. Roth. Officer Rodriguez was performing his lawfully assigned duties. You attempted to intimidate him by invoking financial authority and implied influence over his employment. That matters a great deal. The judge turns to his clerk. Miss Lewis, were there any communications directed to this court regarding this case prior to today's hearing? The clerk flips through a detailed log. Yes, Your Honor. We received 2 incoming phone calls and 1 voicemail, all from a number registered to Roth Capital Group Legal Counsel. The calls came in at 9:23 and 9:41 a.m., with the voicemail left at 9:58 a.m. Please play the voicemail for the record. A measured, professional voice emerges from the courtroom speakers, the kind of voice trained in corporate law, smooth and careful. This message is for the court administrator. I'm calling on behalf of Victor Roth regarding case number 2025 TR 47286. We would like to discuss a quiet resolution before this matter proceeds to a formal hearing. Please return this call at your earliest convenience. The defense attorney stands immediately. Your Honor, my client cannot be held responsible for communications made by his father's office without his knowledge. This is prejudicial information. Overruled. When outside parties attempt to influence court proceedings, that becomes part of the factual record. I'm documenting facts, Counselor, not speculating. Miss Lewis, please establish the timeline of these communications. Yes, Your Honor. The traffic stop occurred at 8:47 a.m. The first call from Roth Capital Legal was logged at 9:23 a.m., exactly 36 minutes after the stop. Judge Caprio regards the defendant. Mr. Roth, did you contact your father after the traffic stop? I texted him. Miss Lewis, do we have that communication in evidence? Yes, Your Honor. A screenshot was submitted by Officer Rodriguez, obtained with the defendant's consent during the stop. The text message was sent to a contact labeled Dad at 9:02 a.m. It reads, Got cited. He'll make calls. Don't sweat it. The judge reads the text carefully. He'll make calls. Don't sweat it. Mr. Roth, it appears you contacted your father immediately after receiving these citations with the expectation that he would use his influence to make them disappear. Is that a fair characterization? My lawyer usually handles these things. Your lawyer pays your fines, Mr. Roth. That's not the same as taking responsibility. Miss Lewis, does Mr. Roth have any prior traffic citations on record? Yes, Your Honor. 3 prior speeding citations within the past 18 months. All were marked, resolved by counsel. There are no records of personal appearances by the defendant at any hearings. Judge Caprio leans back slightly, processing this information. So you've been cited for speeding 3 times in 18 months, and you've never appeared in court personally to answer for any of those violations. Each time, someone else handled the consequences for you. That's what lawyers are for. Lawyers represent you, Mr. Roth. They don't absolve you of accountability. Judge Caprio's expression grows more serious. Mr. Roth, I want you to help me understand something. Do you know why school zones exist? Aiden shifts slightly. I guess for safety. You guess. Officer Rodriguez, were children present at the time of this traffic stop? Yes, Your Honor. The crossing guard was actively posted. I observed approximately 20 students crossing Elmwood Avenue at the marked crosswalk during the time of the violation. 20 children. Judge Caprio lets that number sit in the air. Mr. Roth, you were driving 68 miles per hour past 20 school children. Do you understand the physics of stopping distance at that speed? I stopped fine. You stopped 2 blocks after Officer Rodriguez activated his emergency lights. That's not fine, Mr. Roth. That's defiance. The judge pauses, his next words carefully chosen. I want to return to the statement you made when this hearing began. You told this court, and I quote, "My dad can buy you." Do you stand by that statement? For the first time, Aiden's attorney looks genuinely concerned. The young man, however, appears unfazed. I mean, he probably could. The attorney stands quickly. Your Honor, my client is young and doesn't fully understand. Counselor, your client is 18 years old. He is legally an adult. Mr. Roth, I need you to clarify something for this record. Are you stating in an official court proceeding that your father could purchase the integrity of this court? Aiden's expression shifts into something resembling a smirk. My dad has dinner with the mayor every month. He funds half the charities in this city, so yeah, if he wanted to make a call, this goes away. Miss Lewis, please read that statement. Back from the stenographer's record. The clerk reads in a clear voice. Quote, My dad has dinner with the mayor every month. He funds half the charities in this city, so, yeah, if he wanted to make a call, this goes away. End quote. The courtroom falls completely silent. 5 seconds, 7, 10, 12. Finally, Judge Caprio speaks, his voice quiet but carrying absolute authority. Mr. Roth, you have just told this court, on the official record, that your father's wealth and political connections could make a lawful citation disappear. That statement is not hyperbole or youthful exaggeration. It is a direct challenge to the integrity of this proceeding and the entire judicial process. Do you understand the gravity of what you've said? I understand my dad has more power than you do. Judge Caprio straightens in his chair, and when he begins speaking, every word carries the weight of deliberate judgment. Here is my finding on the traffic citations. The evidence is clear and uncontested. LiDAR reading of 68 miles per hour in a 35 mile per hour school zone, corroborated by body camera footage, timestamp verification, and school zone beacon logs showing active status. Approximately 20 children were present and crossing at the time. The vehicle failed to stop for 2 blocks after emergency lights and sirens were activated. The defendant refused to provide license and registration without legal counsel present, constituting failure to obey a lawful order. I find the defendant guilty on all 3 counts. Base fines total $1,200. Additionally, I am imposing a 90-day license suspension effective immediately and mandatory. Enrollment in a driver safety course to be completed before reinstatement eligibility. He pauses, looking directly at Aiden. Consequences teach what privilege concealed, Mr. Roth. But we are not finished here. Your statements, both to Officer Rodriguez at the traffic stop and to this court today, represent something far more serious than traffic violations. When you asked Officer Rodriguez, "Do you know who pays your salary?" you attempted to intimidate a public servant performing his lawful duty. When you told me, "My dad can buy you," you attacked the legitimacy of this entire court system. Judge Caprio's voice grows firmer. Direct contempt of court is defined as conduct that occurs in the immediate presence of the court and obstructs the administration of justice. Your statement was made in open court on the official record in my direct presence. It was deliberate, not accidental. It undermines public confidence in the judicial process. Here is what concerns me most, Mr. Roth. You didn't just insult me personally. You told every person in this courtroom, and everyone who will read this transcript, that justice is for sale, that wealth determines outcomes, that the law bends for those who can afford to bend it. The judge leans forward slightly. That is not how the system works. Not in this courtroom. Not on my watch. For direct contempt of court, I am sentencing you to 30 days at the adult correctional institutions. You will be eligible for review after 15 days if you demonstrate genuine reflection and compliance. Officer Wilson, please take Mr. Roth into custody. The bailiff moves forward, handcuffs ready. Aiden's smirk vanishes instantly. Wait. What? You can't. You heard the ruling, Mr. Roth. Officer Wilson, please proceed. The attorney is on his feet, papers scattering. Your Honor, my client didn't mean... Counselor, your client said exactly what he meant. He said it twice, clearly and deliberately, on the official record. Officer Wilson. The metallic click of handcuffs echoes through the silent courtroom. Aiden's face drains of color. You can't do this. My dad will... Your father will do nothing, Mr. Roth. This is direct contempt. It takes effect immediately. You will be transported within the hour. The clerk makes a notation. For the record, Your Honor, the time is now 10:31 a.m., 31 minutes from case opening to custody. Thank you, Miss Lewis. Next case, please. Case number 2025, TR 47301, Commonwealth versus Maria Santos. A woman in her 50s steps forward, nervously clutching a folder. She was cited for an expired registration, 3 days overdue. Miss Santos, I see you paid the registration fee the day after receiving your citation. Is that correct? Yes, Your Honor. I'm so sorry. I worked 2 jobs and I forgot the date. You took responsibility immediately, Miss Santos. Fine reduced to $25. Thank you for your integrity. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you so much. The contrast is not lost on anyone in the courtroom. Equality speaks loudest when money fails to provide immunity. Before adjourning, Judge Caprio makes one more statement for the record. I am placing the following policy recommendations on record for the Municipal Court Administration and the Office of the Mayor. First, establish a weekly ex parte influence log for all cases. Any off-record communication attempts, including from law firms or corporate counsel, will be documented and published. Second, create a court clerk hotline for reporting interference attempts. Any effort to pressure, intimidate, or leverage wealth or connections must be reported and investigated. Third, conduct a comprehensive school zone beacon audit with results posted publicly. Fourth, develop neutral enforcement protocols for officers to use when drivers invoke wealth or status during stops. Fifth, issue court-wide contempt guidance clarifying that on-record intimidation will be met with immediate custody, regardless of the defendant's resources or connections. 15 days later, Aiden appears for his review hearing via video from the correctional facility. He wears a standard-issue jumpsuit. His hair is uncombed. His face appears thinner, the artificial confidence stripped away by consequence. Mr. Roth, you requested this review. The question before me is whether you've demonstrated genuine reflection and whether continued custody serves any purpose. What do you wish to say? Aiden looks directly at the camera. When he speaks, his voice carries none of its former arrogance. Your Honor, I was wrong. I thought money meant power. I thought my father's success meant I didn't have to follow the same rules as everyone else. I was arrogant. I was disrespectful. I endangered children. And then I insulted the officer who stopped me in the court that held me accountable. I'm sorry. Mr. Roth, Is that statement in your own words, or did someone write it for you? It's mine, Your Honor. I've had 15 days to think about what I said and who I was. I'm ashamed. Judge Caprio watches him carefully. Good. Shame is the beginning of change. Here is my ruling. I am reducing your custody to time served, 15 days. However, I am imposing a restorative accountability plan that you will complete in full, or the remaining 15 days will be reinstated. He outlines the requirements. 200 hours of community service as a crossing guard assistant in the exact school zone where he was speeding, written and in-person apologies to Officer Rodriguez and the school principal, a public service announcement on school zone safety vetted by the court, and an 800-word written reflection on what he learned. Do you accept these terms? Yes, Your Honor. Then you're released today. Don't make me regret this, Mr. Roth. I won't, Your Honor. Thank you. Over the following 4 months, Aiden completes each requirement. He stands at the intersection on Elmwood Avenue at 7:45 each morning, holding a stop sign as children cross the street where he was once clocked at 68 miles per hour. The temperature drops to 34 degrees, and he learns what public servants do every day without recognition. He delivers his apology to Officer Rodriguez at the police station. The officer listens, nods, and says simply, "Thank you for coming. I hope you mean it." He meets with the principal of Carver Elementary, who reads his apology and tells him, "Our students deserve to feel safe walking to school. I hope you remember that." He records a public service announcement. The first draft mentions his father's charitable work. The court rejects it. He records it again, this time with plain truth. "I drove 68 miles per hour past children. I thought I was above the rules. I wasn't. Speed limits exist for a reason. Follow them." He submits his written reflection, honest, raw, and free of public relations language. "I spent 18 years believing money equaled respect. It doesn't. Respect is earned by how you treat people when no one is watching and how you accept consequences when you're caught." 4 months after the original hearing, he returns to court for final review. "Mr. Roth, I've read your reflection. Summarize what you learned." Aiden stands. "I learned that rules aren't obstacles, they're protections. I learned that my father's money doesn't make me special. It just gave me advantages I never earned. I learned that respect comes from character, not net worth. And I learned that when you tell a judge, 'My dad can buy you,' you're not showing power. You're showing how little you understand about power." Judge Caprio nods slowly. "You stopped borrowing power and started earning character." He signs the final order. "Your community service is complete. Your license suspension is lifted. This matter is closed. Don't come back here, Mr. Roth." "I won't, Your Honor." "Good, because next time, there won't be a review hearing." 6 months later, Providence adopts the ex parte influence log protocol. The first month's report documents 11 attempted contacts, all declined and documented. The clerk hotline receives 19 calls, 6 lead to formal investigations. The school zone beacon audit reveals that 12 zones have malfunctioning equipment. All are repaired within 60 days. Speeding citations in school zones drop by 28%. Judge Caprio's contempt guidance memo is distributed statewide. It reads in part, "Wealth is not a credential. Status is not a defense. When a defendant uses money or connection to intimidate the court, custody is not cruelty. It's clarity." On a quiet Friday afternoon, Judge Caprio finishes his last case of the week. Before leaving, he pulls up the docket from that Tuesday morning when Aiden Roth said, "My dad can buy you," and left in handcuffs 31 minutes later. He writes a single note in the margin of his bench book. The bench is not for sale. It never was. It never will be. He thinks of Aiden standing in the school zone in the cold, holding a stop sign, watching children cross safely. He thinks of the text that said, "He'll make calls. Don't sweat it." He thinks of the 15 days spent learning that consequences are real. He closes the book, turns off the light, and locks the door. The law, on this day and every day, belong to everyone equally.